Welcome back to RaceHub. Ray Evernham is still with us, and the book is out, Trophies and Scars. So, Ray, for you, what was the motivation behind writing this book?
Well, I felt a responsibility, being connected with motorsports and having worked with some of the, the Andrettis, the Foyts, the Unsers, the Earnhardts, and telling the Jeff Gordon story, that getting that documented, I think, as part of motorsports history was important. And I wanted people to know me. I wanted them to know what I was thinking, and that how I had to evolve through 50 years of racing now, and add a little bit of an educational process in this. I said, look, we need, we kept using ease, and the ease one for Evernham, it was for entertainment. I want people to read the book and be entertained. I want them to get some education out of it, and then feel some emotion and know that not every day was a perfect day, but I learned lessons from the bad as well as the good, and that's why we call it Trophies and Scars.
That's a good one. I've got my signed copy right here. I got it last week. And
Chad looks like Mr. Rogers.
I think I signed it. Thanks for breaking my records.
But there's a couple things in here I want to hit on real quick. So, the smartest, hardworking, most disciplined, most honest, reliable, principled, and trustworthy person, from Jeff Gordon, talking about you in the foreword. Then we go to this one. Ray is a perfectionist and a forward thinker, a take no prisoners competitive nature, by Rick Hendrick in the foreword. This other one, Ray helped establish a standard of excellence at Hendrick Motorsports that continues to this day, by Roger Penske. So you've got three of the most influential people in NASCAR racing and in motorsports in totality writing your foreword saying things like that about you. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel humble, and it makes me feel really lucky, really blessed to have known those men. I'm still, Jeff and I we're closer now than we've ever been. He told his mom the other day, I talk to Ray more than I talk to Ingrid. We text back and forth like kids, and being able to still have a great relationship with Rick Hendrick and the respect of Roger Penske is a very humbling thing, because they are great men. Jeff Gordon's one of the greatest race car drivers ever to hold a steering wheel. And as you know, you're not going to meet a finer person on the planet than Rick Hendrick for a lot of reasons that people don't even know about.
Yeah.
And then I just have so much respect for Roger Penske and what he's built. To have that kind of a comment from them is really special.
So give me a little teaser. You write this book, and I'm sure not everything makes it in the book. What's the one story that did make the book that you're like, I maybe shouldn't put this in here?
Well, mostly everything in there, it was really about the same. It was honestly hard to write about some of the personal struggles I was having while I was out on the road. And you're living a superstar life and feeling good from Thursday to Sunday, but at home, I had a child who was sick, and I wasn't feeling good about my being a father or being a husband or doing those things. But to write that book, I wanted to be honest and say, look, I'm not going to give myself a break. I'm not going to try and make myself into something that wasn't. I wanted to really tell the real story about what I was feeling, how I had to come to grips with that, and then evolve as a person, because we just do evolve, and especially through a sport like this. It looks all great when we're up there with our Refuse to Lose t-shirts, shooting the champagne all over, but there's a price that came with that.
And, I'm curious, because we talked a little bit about it before, but when you did leave Hendrick, did you have that conversation with Jeff back in the day, or when he saw it in the book, did you then sit down and talk with him about it? How did all that play out, and how was that to write this down and relive that chapter of your life?
Well, Jeff and I have gotten really close over a lot of things. I think that, our NASCAR Hall of Fame inductions have brought us together, having some fun racing some cars on the side again, but I spoke to him, and there were things that we spoke about honestly as I was writing that book that I don't think he knew, and that I maybe didn't know at that time. And I feel like the honesty when I sat down and talked to him about the people that were pulling in between, and the fact that I was afraid. At one point, I was afraid that I may get fired. If I don't step it up here, geez, we've only won 3 or 4 races so far, and now, people are kind of questioning what I'm doing rather than supporting me, and I was scared, and I'm as close with Jeff as I am with my own brother, so I didn't want to hurt that relationship, and it was a very tough time. But I will tell you that driving out of motorsports that day, you know, you talk about feeling like shame. You know, remember that little show where you're kind of you're like, wow, you know, and you know, so it was a scary time. Worked out good for everybody, but at that time it wasn't just, oh, give me the check, Dodge, we're going to go racing. There was a lot more than that.
Pretty amazing. It's just your career is just remarkable. I love the fact that you continue to this day to still give back to the racing community, racing in general, from things like your book to the car show and the charities that you support. Like you are more of a not that you weren't a giving person when we worked together, you know, years ago. You gave knowledge and opportunities then, but you are actually giving back to people that really matter now. It's pretty impressive, Ray.
Well, again, as I'm a lot older and you look back at all the people, you start to realize, like, look at all the people that helped me. Without every one of those people, and the example that being around generous people like Rick Hendrick and seeing how generous the overall NASCAR community is. If you look at the generosity, every time the NASCAR community gets behind any kind of a charity or initiative, it's one of probably the most charitable sports in the world. And to be part of that and being a NASCAR Hall of Fame member now, you know comes with responsibility. We have a responsibility to our sport to act in a good manner that would promote it. So it is important to do those things.
So you're super goal oriented. Obviously, you've accomplished a lot. What drives you right now? Like, what are you working on? Like, you go to bed tonight, what are you thinking about I need to do tomorrow?
Well, I do some work with Marcus Smith and the folks over at SMI. I'm enjoying putting these concours together and working with some older cars and doing some panels on things like that. We're trying to revive the vintage IROC series, so that's got me going. But I still love to be around people. I love to build cars, restore cars. We're building a vintage Trans Am car for me. We always build these wild cars because it's a lot easier for me to pass those guys on the straightaway than it is in the corner.
Right.
You know, I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that, but I'll, give me another 100 horsepower. So we're restoring right now 3 or 4 cars in my shop, and that's a passion of mine too. The vintage racing cars and vintage racing events.
So you mentioned IROC. I didn't mean to cut you off. You're about to say something. What's going on with that?
Well, Rob Kaufman and I, Rob's a big vintage racer and racer, we were able to secure the old IROC marks and the IROC brand. And as you know, vintage racing has gotten really, really big. So we're looking at having an IROC reunion. I've located about 38 of these original IROC cars so far. And so we're trying to figure out what kind of condition are they in? Do people want to bring them to these events, to show them, to race them, bringing back that brand, having some fun, selling hats and T-shirts.
That's amazing.
So good.
I can't wait.
Let's give the elevator pitch on the book. Let the people know, A, where they can get it, how they can find it, and sell to everybody what they're going to get when they open this thing up.
Well, Amazon is always the big one, and Octane Press, the people that published it, and certainly our own website. But when you read that book, I think you're going to read a lot of fun things about the history of NASCAR, especially NASCAR in the 1990s, the personalities, the Bill Francis, the Dale Earnhardts, and the things that were behind the scenes. And hopefully you'll learn some lesson. Who is Ray Evernham, and really what was he thinking, and how did all of this happen? And that I may possibly be the Forrest Gump of motorsports, because much of it I don't know. And the fact that I think there's some good educational things in there, whether you are a business owner or just personally trying to be a dad, a husband, or just a friend.
Well, appreciate your time, Ray. Everyone, go get the book, check it out, and we'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, still to come, we're going to look ahead to what to expect at Richmond for a little short track racing Easter Sunday and discuss the Blue Ovals. What's up with the Fords right now, and when will they find victory lane again? We'll discuss all that coming up next on The Hub.